Welcome to the KREM 2 News at Noon. I'm Joshua Robinson. Jen York and Laura Papetti are enjoying some time off for the holidays today. New at noon today, detectives are investigating after a fatal shooting in Spokane's East Central neighborhood. We've learned about it today that it happened around 6 a.m. yesterday in the area of Madelia Street, and First Avenue. The victim told police he had been shot outside of a home while standing next to his car. He later died at a local hospital. Detectives with the Spokane Police Department's Major Crimes Unit are now investigating, and authorities have not identified any suspects as of today. Anyone with any information on this shooting is asked to call Crime Check. We've got the number for you right now on your screen. This is also coming in new at noon today. Hospital leaders are reporting a record of 232 patients hospitalized for COVID-19 in the Spokane metro area today. That number also includes Coeur d'Alene. And during a press conference today, Sacred Heart's chief nursing officer called the statistic sobering.
That's the highest number we've had since the virus began. And not a record I am happy to have at this point in time.
Local health officials reported yesterday that 55 Spokane County residents were hospitalized for COVID-19. 82 coronavirus patients are hospitalized at Kootenai Health in Coeur d'Alene today. Meanwhile, residents at long-term care facilities across Washington will start getting their first doses of the COVID-19 vaccine today. Arnico Hernandez has more on how many vaccines the state has right now and who is getting the vaccine this week.
Yeah, so this past week, the Washington State Department of Health gave out 20,000 vaccines specifically for long-term care facilities, and those vaccines are going to start being administered today. I want to give you a look at exactly what numbers of vaccines we have here in the state. First off, this past week, there were a total of 172,750 vaccines given out across the state. Of those, 44,000 were Pfizer and 128,000 were Moderna vaccines. Of those that were distributed, a total of 30,000 vaccines were actually administered. Those were to healthcare workers in our state. And then this week, Washington will get another 101,000 vaccines. Of those, 57,000 will be Pfizer vaccines and 44,000 will be Moderna. Washington was expecting to have even more vaccines by now, but the state said less got delivered. Some of the Pfizer vaccines that we were supposed to get are going through one last quality control process. The state says, though, that by the beginning of next year, we will have a steady flow of vaccines to the state. And the federal government says that as months go by, we'll see more and more vaccines go out every month. In Spokane, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
New travel restrictions take effect today for people coming in and out of the United Kingdom. The U.S. now requires a negative COVID-19 test within 72 hours of boarding a flight, along with the paperwork to prove it. The CDC announced these requirements late on Christmas Eve, and the measure is being taken to help curb the spread of a new strain of the coronavirus, which surfaced in the UK last week, and it appears to be more transmissible than other strains. This move stops short of an outright ban on flights from the UK, which other countries have implemented.
Does it make someone more ill? Is it more serious virus in the sense of virulence? And the answer is it doesn't appear to be that way.
You just heard from Dr. Anthony Fauci on the new strain of the coronavirus, which is prompting these travel restrictions. It's also been found in several other countries, including France, Australia, Japan, and Canada. And experts believe the strain is likely already in the U.S. Dr. Fauci says health officials worldwide are monitoring this situation. While sunshine and cold temperatures are in store for today before we see another round of snow, Thomas Patrick in the Weather Center today with more on what we are expecting this week. Thomas.
Yeah, good afternoon, Joshua. The sunshine's just going to take a little bit longer to get out for today because the cloud cover has been a bit persistent between the fog we saw this morning. Those clouds are thinning, they're rising, but it is still a bit gray out there, but we are expecting at least a few peaks of sunshine by the afternoon hours. But unfortunately, it's going to stay a bit on the chilly side. Just 27 right now in Spokane, a bit of an improvement up in Deer Park and Sandpoint. You're back in the 20s after starting the day near 10 degrees this morning, so at least that is a bit of improvement. Our computer models are do suggest a bit of sunshine, but very late in the day, probably right near sunset, and then we'll settle in for a mostly cloudy night out ahead of us. Tomorrow will be pretty benign, but Wednesday is going to be a very snowy day, almost from start to finish across the region. There's a potential for some heavy snow, especially in northern Washington and parts of North Idaho, and Spokane is a very close call to being in that category as well. So coming up and breaking down just how much snow is in the forecast for each of our area cities, as well as the latest timing of this storm system as well. All of this falling basically during the day on Wednesday. So more details in just a few minutes here.
We'll see you back here then, Thomas. We also have some good news for millions of Americans today, as more money is now on the way for people who desperately need it, including stimulus checks. After delays of refusal, President Trump has signed the $900 billion COVID relief bill as of last night. Both Democrats and Republicans did encourage him to sign that bill, with 14 million people set now to receive a boost of cash. The relief bill also stops a partial government shutdown. So here are some of the other details about the bill. It extends unemployment benefits, adding an additional $300 per week through mid-March, plus a one-time stimulus check for most Americans, maxing out at $600. Anyone making $75,000 or less per year will receive that $600 amount, plus an additional $600 for every dependent child under 17 years old. People making up to $86,900 per year will also still get a check, but for less money, because the amount goes down as salary goes up. Now, if you're not a citizen or don't have a green card, you do not qualify. If you're married to someone with a green card, you will still get one this time around. That's after the last batch of stimulus checks back in March did cut those people out. If you're wondering when you'll see that money, you can expect it to take anywhere from a few days up to a few weeks. But if you're really hurting for that cash, experts have encouraged you to sign up for direct deposit. Now, just last week, as we mentioned, the president he basically surprised Congress by demanding that they raise stimulus payments from $600 to $2,000. Democrats have said that they are on board, with opposition, though, coming from a number of Republicans. And the House is expected to vote on another bill that would increase that funding to $2,000. However, it is not expected to pass in the Senate. Meanwhile, Washington state residents who need immediate relief are also in a bit of luck today, after Governor Jay Inslee announced a plan to fill in the gaps of the relief bill. The state will provide relief to about 95,000 Washington residents until that federal relief kicks in. Governor Inslee says this will be a one-time payment while residents wait for their benefits. And if you would like all of the latest news on stimulus payments, Washington's relief payments, or some information on unemployment, you can text the word money to 509-448-2000. We'll send that information your way.